So the consumer guarantees are set out in the Australian consumer law, and they set out your responsibilities as a small business offering products or services to consumers. Consumer guarantees apply to all products that are valued under $40,000, and if they are valued over $40,000, then it still applies to those products or services, but only if they are purchased for personal, domestic or household use. Okay, so that's the two differences. In terms of products, your consumer guarantees are that you must provide clear title. Now, what that means is there isn't someone in the background that has a retention of title clause who could seize those goods after they're sold. The most common example in this circumstance is used cars. People who purchase a used car expect to own that car. If there is finance against that car and they haven't checked, then it's the finance company that has the first right to that vehicle. So, and a lawyer I know recently was complaining because they purchased a car from someone and it got seized and they just didn't check. It's very easy to check those sorts of things. But that's what I mean by clear title. You've got to be able to give over the whole of the ownership to the purchaser. The goods or services have to be, the goods in this instance have to be of acceptable quality. So for example, if you purchase something for $10, you wouldn't necessarily expect the quality of that item to be the same as something you purchase for $10,000. And you wouldn't necessarily expect it to last as long. So it's all relative, but you purchase a TV for $100, if it goes bust in 6 months, you might not, the supplier may not be in breach of consumer guarantees. If it's a $10,000 TV and it goes bust in 6 months, it needs to be replaced or refunded. Because that would be a breach, because that's a substantial sum of money to pay for an item and you expect it to work for a lot longer period of time. There must be timely delivery. So for example, a friend of mine purchased a sofa and they were waiting for delivery and it was 6 months before they got their sofa. And in the meantime, the person or the company that sold it to them offered them cushions and Scotch guarding, and they ended up with an extra armchair, all because they were trying to keep the customer happy because they weren't able to provide timely delivery and they didn't want to give a refund. The products have to be fit for purpose. So for example, you do not sell a rake to be used as a shovel. It's not going to work. That's what it means by being fit for purpose. You sell a shovel because the purpose for which you use a shovel is specific things, and a rake's just not going to do that. The product must match the description or sample. And I experienced this quite some time ago. I purchased a dress online. It was made overseas. And it was supposed to be a sequenced evening dress, and when it arrived, it looked like a clown's outfit. Obviously that did not match the description. It didn't match the photos. It didn't look anything like what I expected it to look like, and I returned it and I got a full refund. So that's matching the description or the sample. And you must be able to provide people with access to repairs or spares. So if you can't do that, then you've got to make it very clear that it's provided without that warranty. And a marketplace that does consumer guarantees very, very well in Australia is Kogan, Kogan. If they're not able to promise that there will be spares or servicing available in Australia, they make that very obvious before the point of purchase. So it's a big warning and people can clearly understand that before they purchase, and then they take responsibility for that themselves. So I've had a client recently who provides products and they rely on manufacturers' warranties. So what they do is if they have to repair or replace a product, they refer it back to the manufacturer. But in their circumstance, because they sell the products, they're still the first sort of person responsible for making sure there are spares and repairs available.